Good morning, everyone. This is Marty Harger, and I am so excited today to talk to you about our fantastic program coming up for the Treasures of Turkey. And today I have with me a wonderful guest speaker who's going to be my co-presenter. She is the woman who heads up as founder and CEO of Learning Journeys, Dr. Carol Demopoulos. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Marty. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to talk to you about Turkey today.
I know this is going to be fantastic. And, if we haven't met, for those of you that are listening to this, my name is Marty Harger, and I'm the founder of a travel company called Essential Earth Explorations. This is a company that focuses on small group, personally escorted international travel programs for global explorers and essential oil enthusiasts. So today with Dr. Demopoulos, I'm going to be taking you through the program that we're offering called the Treasures of Turkey Exploration. We're going to talk about a number of things, but Carol's company, Learning Journeys, is an international tour company that helps people like me over this last decade that she and I have been working together to create these amazing learning experiences through responsible and sustainable travel. And we have taken groups all over the world, as I'll tell you about in a bit. The reason I'm excited about having Carol join us today is she has been to Turkey numerous times and offers these really unique insights that she's going to share with us today about this program. So I'm excited about that. And if you're like me, you've had Turkey on your bucket list for travel for a long time. It's a destination I've always wanted to visit. And as you may know or may not know, Turkey is also a country that's known for its ancient and its magical aspects as a destination. It's where a legacy of is explained and displayed through architecture, and that's surrounded by four different seas. And it is something that has so many fantastic geological wonders, like the one you see in this picture. It's also a country that going to surround you with color and texture and very diverse experiences. There's this contemporary aspect to the Istanbul and the cities, and then you go into this historic cobblestone streets and the ethnic neighborhoods, these rock spires that you see in this picture in Cappadocia, to the sea breezes of Izmir, where we're going to spend some time. I truly think that this Treasures of Turkey exploration is going to be my best program ever, particularly for a perfect program for couples, for people that are traveling with friends and family, or for those of you who want to travel on your own. It's going to be an excellent program in 2025. So I want to get started by telling you that I've been working with Carol and Learning Journeys in her company since 2015. This is when I started my business, and we've been working together to create these unique itineraries. These are just some photos of some of the different places around the world where we've gone. These travel programs have always been about exploring the culture and wellness approaches around the world, because that's what I think is really unique and interesting to go out and discover. And we call them explorations for a reason. Some of the pictures you see here are from places like Costa Rica and Italy, Egypt, India, Greece. And in 2025, I'll be taking a group to Bulgaria and now to Turkey. So I want to tell you just briefly why I got involved in starting a travel business, Essential Earth Explorations. I've actually been traveling since I was a young child, and for many years I ran a ski tour operation and that was booking ski packages all over the Intermountain West of the United States. And we served thousands and thousands of families, putting on fantastic custom-made programs for them. And I also worked with a Caribbean tour operator doing the same thing in sales and marketing. I've been someone who's put on retreats and travel programs for groups for decades. So I'm really accustomed to this whole idea of putting together a program that has a specific concept in mind and then exploring the world in partnership with companies like Carol's, who really can bring us to the best. I have uniquely partnered with Learning Journeys because of the absolutely top shelf quality of service that they've provided and the interesting and fascinating experiences that they've created for me. And this is why I personally escort the groups, because I feel so strongly about gathering this understanding and knowledge about other countries. So my partnership with Learning Journeys is something about, something very special. We have worked together over these years to create these immersive learning experiences that truly are like none other. These are outstanding travel programs, and I can't wait for you to hear more from Carol today. So moving on a little bit, I want to just tell you what we're going to cover, and so you can get an idea of this presentation. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit, as I mentioned, of why you would travel with me to Turkey, and I hopefully gave you a little bit of background. And there's more on my website if you want to, dive in deeper on me and Marty Harger. But we're going to talk about what you can expect and then highlight some of the itinerary details because I think that that will be helpful. Then we'll talk about what others are saying about traveling with me and explain specifically how you can register. So a few key points I want to mention before I turn this over to Carol, and that is our entire exploration in Turkey is going to be guided by a local tour manager who is someone that is with us day and night. They speak the language, they know the customs, and they are there to truly ensure our happiness and safety. This is a program that's going to offer you so much more knowledge about Turkey's kingdoms and conquerors, and it's a part of the world that has been inhabited by humans since the late Paleolithic period. That's a long time ago, and it contains some of the oldest Neolithic sites in the world. We put together this outstanding active itinerary, and I want to highlight the word active because this is something that's going to take us into the bazaars and the trading areas that are still in use today in Turkey. We're going to sample Turkish cuisine and all of the delicious spices and learn to cook our own meal. We're going to have so many different options for special healing experiences, a meditative ceremony with the whirling dervishes, and a ride high above the peaks of Cappadocia in a hot air balloon. So I'm happy to answer any questions after you listen to this webinar recording today, or privately, if you want to reach out to me, please either send me an email and I'll give you that contact info at the end. There are a very limited number of spots on this trip. I want to emphasize that. These are small group travel programs. So let's go through the details today together, and then let's get you registered for this most prized travel positions in my Treasures of Turkey exploration. So in just a minute, I'm going to turn this over to Carol to tell us the grand picture of this program. But let me just take a second to do a little geography for everybody. Turkey is located at the crossroads of Europe, the Middle East, Central Asia, and Caucasia. So our Treasures of Turkey exploration starts and ends in Istanbul, and then we're going to go to Izmir on the western coast, facing Greece, and then we'll come into the center of the country in Cappadocia, where we're going to see the stunning volcanic landscape. So we're going to see city, ocean, and the geology that is so unique in Turkey. Each day, we're going to offer really deeper insights into Turkey, its people, its culture, and there's so many UNESCO World Heritage sites that we're going to visit. This is going to be fantastic because they'll really highlight the various chapters of Turkey's history. We've got also a lot of fun planned. This isn't just a history trip by any means. This is going to be a cultural immersion, including something fun like a belly dancing class and wine tasting and a visit to an organic farm and so much more. So in today's webinar, we're going to talk you through each of these unique areas and what you can expect on this Treasures of Turkey exploration with me. So I'd love to now turn this over to Carol to tell you more. And please feel free to introduce yourself a little more deeply than I did, Carol, and help with an overview of this Treasures of Turkey exploration.
Thank you so much, Marty, and thank you for a beautiful partnership. Marty and I met at a Yoga Journal show many years ago. I was highlighting learning journeys, and she was across the way from me, and it was an instant symbiotic kind of relationship because we got it. And the way that I work with Marty and the way that we work together is very unique in the whole scope of tourism travel, kind of educational experiences or transformative experiences. As Marty said, I'm Dr. Carol Demopoulos. I've been in tourism for 25 years. I started as a flight attendant because I'm a gypsy and I travel the world and I love everything about the world. So I started very, very young, really going into cultures and understanding that there's just so much more than just kind of seeing culture from an overview. Rather, you have to sit with the people. You have to incorporate and fold in transformative experiences like sitting with local people, having a cup of Turkish coffee and watching them actually make it, watching them put the herbs into it, because it's easy to sit in a traditional kind of a program and just drink a Turkish coffee, but we don't do that. We take you in and we show you how Turkish coffee is made with the herbs, and you smell them. And so I've always been fascinated by the world and the cultures. So Learning Journeys is a social enterprise. We are created to provide transformative experiences for Marty, her clients, and many other clients, like-minded clients, that are interested in responsible experiences that give back to the communities, because we have the power collectively to really build communities and give people the chance to have great commerce, but also for you, the traveler, to be able to dip into yourself and really find that light that is covered up because we have so much noise and compression in this world. And these experiences allow that breath through the experiences, through the weaving of the cultures, through the weaving of the colors and the people and the welcoming, and also the land itself. The land itself. I was talking to the one of the heads of the Turkish tourism board the other day, and she was smiling, and I was talking about India, because as Marty does India quite a bit. I love India, and I love Turkey equally. My two favorite places in the entire world. And she laughed and she said, "Do you know that we have as many transformative experiences in Turkey as they do in India?" And I believe it because of the energy of the land. So as we go through the presentation, I'm going to talk to you about the colors and the scents and the smells, and the hospitality is beyond belief. So there's a lot to cover, and a lot of exciting things in this program that you will not find anywhere else.
Carol, this image that is part of one of the aspects of history in a UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and some of the things that we're going to see, I think are so fantastic. This whole idea that Turkey is not only a large country, but it's about the size of Texas, I found out. And for those that want a point of reference, and it's also considered the cradle of civilization, where, thousands of years of this history. And even just looking at this image, which is obviously, hand created thousands of years ago. And I'm so excited to learn about the diverse architecture and the planning of the cities and the construction of these mosques and temples and churches. So as we're going through, if there are comments that you feel, would be helpful, I have added a few other photos in here from one of your recent trips, and thought that maybe you can tell us a little bit about what we're looking at when we get to that as well. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. And I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about what we can expect in terms of the types of hotels that you've found for us, and this being a classic example of it. Fantastic about these boutique hotel experiences.
So, as with Marty's Essential Earth Explorations, Learning Journeys only focuses on working with unique properties, boutique style hotels, really Turkish immersion, a Turkish feel, because they're small boutiques that really, again, believe in the heritage, believe in the culture and the customs. They're not hotels or properties that want to just get people in and out. They really want you to come, and they want you to get that essential feel of what Turkey is like. So the properties that we have chosen for you are the top of the top. They are luxury properties, very unique. And as we go through the slides, we can talk a little bit more about your stay in Cappadocia. But in Istanbul, I've stayed at this property, and I'll tell you a quick story. I was coming back from Tibet the last time I went to Istanbul, and they sensed that I wasn't feeling well at the desk. So they helped us. They literally brought us to the room. And 10 minutes later, I had this huge tray delivered of healing teas, some foods that they thought would be healing for me. I didn't ask for it. But they sensed that what I needed. And the Turkish people are some of the most welcoming people in the world. And we're always treated like royalty when we go. And it's not because I own a travel company. It's because guest is God in Turkey too. They want you to feel that Turkish hospitality and Turkish delights, and so it's quite incredible. These hotels are will really meet and exceed your expectations for what Turkey is.
I love that. And I also love the fact that these are properties that we've included that encourage deep and restful sleep. I think that's so important, not only comfort and safety, but these are properties that are the perfect places to lay your head down after a busy day of exploring. And I think that just in looking at these elegant historic property in Istanbul and looking in the idea of looking out over the sea when we're in Kusadisi, if I'm saying that right, and then also into Cappadocia and looking at some of the incredible views that will come there as well. I do want to mention for people that aren't aware that the fall season is a fantastic time to be going to Turkey because the temperature range is somewhere between about 65 and 85 degrees, typically around this time of year. So moving on to the next topic, one of my favorite topics, which is the food. And oh my gosh, the food in Turkey sounds like it's going to be amazing. I couldn't even find a picture to capture it. But tell us a little bit about the kind of food in Turkey that you experience, Carol, and some of the highlights of what makes it unique.
So you never stop eating in Turkey. Let me just put it to you this way. Every time, every person that you meet wants to feed you. And Turkish food, we're Greek by origin and Italian, so we know food. But Turkey, Turkey has a lot of that Mediterranean feel, but it's also got its own very unique dishes. And lots of the Turks really serve you a lot of food. So even though you might be ordering one small plate, it comes in a huge plate for sharing because metzas, as in Greece, is very, very popular. So when Turkish people order dinners or the dinners that you'll have, it's not just going to be, I'm going to have this. They're going to bring a spread in front of you and they are going to keep bringing food to you. So things that are similar to Greece, dolmades, the cheeses, Turkish bread is very, very different. It's one of the most unique aspects of Turkey, and I'm a real bread fanatic and connoisseur, as well as olive oil. Both are very, very unique to Turkey. The bread is almost like a flatbread, but it's thick and it's soft inside, and it pairs very well with the Turkish olive oil and olives, and all of the kind of accoutrements that they serve. And whatever dinners that you're having, you're looking at, they do a lot of stuffed peppers and vegetables and tons of fish, obviously. Very fresh fish prepared in a Turkish with the Turkish spices. So spices in Turkey are very, very unique. Lots of rice with saffron, and it brings Turkey is that bridge. So Turkey sits between Europe and the Middle East. So there's going to be an experience where you're actually crossing that line where you're in Europe and then you're in the Middle East. So it's quite unique. So you have all of this blend of eclectic cuisine from both cultures, which are quite similar but still different. But it is a nonstop foodathon. It Turks will feed you until you say no, and then there's more food.
Well, I love that. And I love the fact that in this program, the exploration, we've included these opportunities to really learn about the spices, to shop for spices, and to learn how to cook some Turkish food ourselves. So we have a cooking class and so many interesting ways to explore the senses of, the aromas and the sights and the flavors of the food, which will be great. So going on to the next topic, to highlight some of the things, I'm going to just mention that, we have a plan for the shoppers in the group. Get ready to get really amazed because the amount of, and I'm going to show another slide in a minute here of some of Carol's experiences, because we're going to get a chance to go to, for instance, the vendor stalls and the boutiques in the Grand Bazaar, which was built in the 1400s and is considered the world's largest and oldest covered market. There's over 4,000 individual shops inside, and there are these winding corridors and a place to find just the perfect treasures. And there's so many other things to look at. There's special pottery that's created there, jewelry, carpets, fabric. I mean, so many things. So Carol, this next slide I want to show because, oh, wait, I guess it wasn't in that place. It's later. But tell us a little bit about the creativity and the crafts of the Turkish people that you have experienced.
So Marty spoke a little bit about the Grand Bazaar. The Grand Bazaar is one of the oldest bazaars in the world. I mean, it dates way back. Silk traders would travel through Turkey and bring all of their goods. So when you visit the Grand Bazaar, it's not just it's almost a collection of cities because each area of the Grand Bazaar has different elements. So you walk in, and it depends on where you enter, but you might walk into the jewelry, where you see gold, opulent gold hanging, and gold bracelets and bangles and sh everything shiny. So handmade jewelry is very, very big part of the Turkish culture. Pottery, as Marty is showing here, you walk down another corridor, and all of a sudden you're in the ceramics city, if you will. And there are hundreds of vendors there, each from local artisan villages, selling their goods there. And the colors, as you can see, Turkey is one of the most colorful places on the planet. So pottery is huge, and also lamps. So if you like lamps, they have these beautiful kind of almost look like Tiffany lamps, only they're very, very unique in their globes. And I absolutely love them. So they're colorful, and this is very, very unique. Of course, the spices. So you're walking, then here we come down the sweets city. So you're walking amongst, oh my gosh, Turkish delight and all kind of baklava and the Turkish sweets. So now you're in baking heaven, and you're smelling the candies and the sweets. And then next you're kind of moving into where they keep the spices, and the spices are abundant, and you can buy everything from hibiscus leaves to turmeric to saffron. So you're seeing all of this vibrancy, and every step you take, the vendors will be out trying to greet you, and they'll say things to you like, "Hey, come to my shop. My shop has everything but you in it. Come in." And they'll want to serve you little things. So when you go in, you'll have tastings of teas. You can experience the pottery being made, and also they'll try the jewelry on for you. So it is a fully immersive experience. You're not just shopping, you're living the experience. It's incredible.
Sounds amazing. I can't wait for that. It's going to be just a wonderful way to immerse ourselves. And speaking of, I love that we have added some additional optional adventures on the program. Sometimes when people travel, they want to do it all. They want to take it all in. And sometimes people are like, I think I'm just going to hang out and relax a little bit. So we put in several optional adventures that you can book ahead of time with us and when you make your registration. And I just want to mention a few of them that I wanted to make sure we included. The first one you see is this woman lying there receiving a Turkish hammam experience. And the hammam is not only more like a spa-like environment, but there's also a particular type of technique that's used in the Turkish bath that is really unique and involves a foaming and a cleaning of the body and massaging at the same time. Men and women, of course, are separated with a private session, but it may be something that you want to experience, and we have more information about that on the website. Also, on the far left, you'll see the picture of what has now become the hot air balloon capital of the world, which is Cappadocia. And it's so fascinating because you're flying in a hot air balloon high above these incredible geologic structures. And, if you've never been to a balloon festival or fiesta, I've been to many of them around the world and helped put one on once, in fact, here in Utah. But it's so magical to see the colorful balloon envelopes floating in the air on the breezes. And this is a very fascinating way to get another perspective of Turkey. Not required. It's, not for everybody. Not everybody likes heights. But if you're okay with that, this is a great thing to do. On the far right, you see a picture of the whirling dervishes. This is something that you may have seen pictures of. It's a form of meditation that is done in performance for an evening when we're in Cappadocia. And again, another option where the whirling goes to a point where it becomes a meditative trance-like state for the men that do this to create divine connection. So all of these programs are another fun option of special things that you can do, including the very first day. That picture with the umbrellas and things is just to capture the concept. The first day, if you come in a day early, we have a fantastic historic districts tour of Istanbul that will be different than the main program. But again, seeing some of these little creative special neighborhoods might be an interesting thing to do on your first day. So all of these are additional options that'll be available to you. And we can go into those in more detail, but I want to get on with the itinerary because this is where the real excitement is going to happen. This is truly going to be the adventure of a lifetime. And I can't wait to share this extraordinary experience with those lucky travelers who say yes and register right away. Because there's a special magic and a beauty to Turkey that so few people have experienced. And I am so thrilled to be offering this outstanding program. The more I look at the details, the more I review them, the more amazed I am that we were able to have this put together for us through Learning Journeys. It is incredible. So get ready for this great discovery adventure. And honestly, if you are interested in not only exploring the world in new ways, but having this active adventure, I think this is going to be fantastic because as you can see, for instance, that picture in the middle, the woman with the hat on, we're going to be doing some walking out into these paths and hiking out into these areas one of the days into this unique terrain and exploring historic sites, looking at this picture in the upper left, a truly unique architecture and things that we'll see. So as you are looking through this itinerary, I want you to think about how colorful it will be, and not just in the visual way, but in the experiences that you're going to have, and truly some mystical offerings, things that are fascinating that have been put into this program together. So overall on this itinerary, Carol, is there anything else you want to add about as I kind of start into the day by day?
Um, uh, you summed it up beautifully, Marty. Turkey can't be described. Let me put it to you that way. Each person has their own unique relationship with the land. It is mystical. It is healing. It has everything you could possibly want in an itinerary. And Marty is right. It is considered the cradle of civilization. So you have all of these ancient mythologies and also faiths coming from this rich land that kind of bridged out because remember, Turkey is right between, it's just in this special position between, Eurasia and you go down into the global south and then, you could go into Europe. So many of the traditions came from this place. So as we go through, you'll see the unique experiences like belly dancing, for example. You're going to get a chance to actually work with a belly dancer to learn about the history of the art. Belly dancing is taken very seriously in Turkey because it is an art form. And also the paintings, the calligraphy, the rugs. It's colorful, it's beautiful, and it is one of the destinations that just gets into your heart and never leaves.
That's great. Well, I'm looking forward to walking people through some highlights of each of the days. And again, the details of the itinerary you can find on my website, martyharger.com/travel. And I'll show you that at the end. So I'm just going to give you a couple of highlights on each of these days. And Carol, feel free to jump in on any of it that needs a little bit more definition. But the first day when people arrive, will be arriving in Istanbul. And as all of our explorations with the help of our Learning Journeys guides, we are greeted at the airport and safely taken to our hotel where we can relax and check in. We're staying at a beautiful boutique hotel in the city. And our guide is going to help us get settled, and we'll have that opportunity for an orientation and a welcome dinner the first night, where we're going to go to explore the local, if I'm going to say this right, Mehane culture, which is really the form of eating, authentic and traditional Mehane culture, which includes all kinds of interesting Turkish food and a special drink they drink, a raki, that is called the lion's milk, and that'll get you warmed up for your first night. And so that's the first day. Again, for people that arrive early, we have that optional tour of some of the neighborhoods in Istanbul before the actual exploration begins the following day. Okay. Day two, we're going to start out with a walking tour of Istanbul. And this will be fantastic because we're going to get this opportunity to start looking at um, areas of the city where there are some unique traditions of tolerance. So Carol mentioned the fact that there are many cultures, many faiths coming together. And in a city like Istanbul, which is a large city, you find this combination of things. So we're going to be exploring that and that whole melting pot of cultures that have artists and intellectuals. And as we walk along, we're going to get a chance to taste some Turkish delicacies. We're going to stop by some bakeries and local food stores. And then later, our tour is going to take us to an area where we're going to start to see things like antique shops and bookshops and walking through these neighborhood areas. And finally, ending our day coming back with a Turkish baklava tasting at the end of the day with some famous baklava makers, and then come back to the hotel before we end up again with a wonderful evening gathering that is going to be allowing people to have this incredible view over what's called the Golden Horn, which is named for the sun's yellow rays that often reflect on the water there on the water there in Istanbul. It makes it look golden. One last comment. This is the day that if you were interested in the hammam experience, the wellness approach, then that would be something that would be tucked in near the end of the day before dinner. So this city orientation is one of a couple of days, but this particular day is one where we're going to walk those neighborhoods, see some of these melting pot of cultures, focus on some of the food experiences, the little areas where we wander through little shops and end up talking a little bit about baklava and then the view of the city to close the day. And that's going to be a fantastic start. Okay, now this next day is the one I want to have Carol tell us a little bit more about. I'm going to show you this and then I'm going to pop to some pictures that she had sent me that are fantastic. So we're going to start out on this day, day three, with a tour of the historical peninsula, which is a UNESCO heritage site. And this is where four major empires were ruled throughout history. So you're going to see this whole discussion around the turnover of these different empires over the years. We're going to visit the former home of the sultans, which is a museum now, and walk through the courtyards that surround the palace. And we're going to visit the fabulous Blue Mosque, which is a classic image that you'll see when we talk about Turkey. And then after lunch, we're going to go to this Grand Bazaar. Now, Carol was talking earlier about the lamps. And this was opened in 1455, they believe. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. And then listen to this day, you guys. Then we go on and we're going to have the belly dancing class before we do a dinner cruise on the open sea at sunset and really get this unforgettable excursion that's going to take us out between the continents of Europe and Asia. Very special evening on the water. So talk about a full day. Now, Carol, these are some photos that you had sent of the Grand Bazaar. Tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here.
So this is where the magic happens. It's with the products, it's with the shop owners, it's with the people, it's with the architecture. So you'll find that these are domed cities, if you will. They're labyrinth in style. So you're moving, and they call it the Grand Bazaar because everything is in there. It's like a one-stop shop. So the location that it's at this point was from the 1400s, but this is an ancient practice that again came up through the silk traders. They always had bazaars in Turkey because that Turkey is a trading point, as Marty said. It's right in between the Middle East and Asia and Europe, so it's in a very unique position. So these are the people and places that these are the types of shops that you will be having the opportunity to go inside and review. I mean, just the lamps that Marty just showed you are the lamps that are just, you walk through one area where it's only glassworks and plates and ceramics, and then you'll move through to the next slide where you see the suppliers with the spices, and local people shop here. So you'll be standing next to the local people as they buy their Turkish delights. Some of the things that I bring back, teas, the hibiscus flowers, the spices, really, really unique that you can only get. Saffron is much less expensive. That true saffron, that really high quality saffron is very, very good buy here. Along with, of course, sweets and just unbelievable jewelry. But this is the Labyrinth, and these are the kind of people that you will see there in daily life.
I love that we're going to get a chance to really get in there and wander around and find some treasures as we go. And what a great day that's going to be. I mean, that's a full day of activity, looking at historic sites, going to this historic shopping experience, and then going on to have some fun with belly dancing and on to a beautiful evening dinner cruise on the water. It's going to be a great day. So
That
the next
cruise is one of the, if I could just interject for a moment, because I didn't mention the cruise, but the cruise is one of the most memorable things that I've done in Turkey, because you're going out on a private yacht, and you were going to have dinner, and we're going to really see Istanbul from the water, and the differences. You could see all of these empires coming together. So you get the perspective from the water, and this is where you're crossing that line where you're in between continents, and you get a different perspective, and the food is just incredible, and everything is lit up, and it's one of the most memorable experiences of our lives.
That's fantastic. And I love that each day that we're spending in Istanbul has a little bit different focus. We started with some of the wandering through the neighborhoods and the kind of intimate discussion this day where we're doing, some of the history and the beautiful sites and museums, and then on to the Grand Bazaar and the belly dancing, and then winding up with this beautiful evening with perspective, which will take us into this next day where we're going to be focusing more in historic buildings. And starting at least in the morning, we're going to spend a little time talking or touring, not a little time, we're going to spend the morning touring an area that's called Sultanahmet, if I'm saying that right, Sultanahmet. And this is where we have things that are thousands of years old that are the Roman Hippodrome. We're going to spend time underground visiting the cisterns that are the way that water is brought into the city, secure drinking water and storage. The thinking behind how this even happened is just and was created is going to be fascinating to learn about. We'll be spending time having a little break at lunch and then in an interesting location, and then going on to what is considered probably one of the most beautiful and classic mosques in Turkey, which is the Hagia Sophia. And later and I'm going to have Carol talk about that in a second. And then finally, we're going to go to the Old Spice Market. And this is where we're going to really see, again, another bazaar with spices and things, fresh fruit and vegetables. And then we come back that evening and just relax at our hotel. So I have some pictures here, Carol, that you had sent me around your experiences at the Hagia Sophia. And I'd like you to talk about that if you would, because looks just like a phenomenal structure and a beautiful place of worship. So tell us about this.
So the Hagia Sophia is probably one of the most unique architectural places that I have ever been, and I've traveled the world many times. First time I walked into it and I saw those lights, just the light streaming through those kind of domed little windows at the cathedral. Everything in this mosque was planned for light. The lightness of it. Yet, so it was originally an Orthodox Christian temple before the Ottoman Empire. So as you walk through, you will see both the influence of Christianity and Islam, and that's what makes it so special and beautiful, because the vividity, the energy in the actual structure. It was basically a shrine devote. It was basically a structure that was dedicated to the Divine Mother, and whatever form of practice you worship, it's still there. The energy is still there, from the priests to the various people who visit it. This is a structure that opens its arms to all beings. So when I was there, I saw a Christian group, and then I saw a group of Indian Hindus in there. So and something that's unique is there is a cat that lives in the Hagia Sophia, and there's always been a cat that lives in the Hagia Sophia. So there's a protector. And hopefully, while you're there, you'll be able to see this beautiful cat. Truly, it is a once in a lifetime, well, maybe multiple, but it is a place that you want to sit and you want to really immerse in that healing energy of the divine. It is sacred.
I think that that is going to be a true highlight of our experience there. And, I just want to make a side note too, again, regardless of what people's spiritual path is, when you go to this type of a place that has been a place of worship for so many thousands of years, where that energy is coming from people's heritage and they're bringing it in to come to a place of love and peace and connection, there is a special energy about that. And I agree with you, Carol. Spending a little time, just quietly absorbing that is a remarkable experience. And I'm very excited that we get to include this. And what a perfect ending to our time in Istanbul to spend the day with some of those most magnificent architectural sites and religious locations. So the next day, we're actually going to pack up and head on a plane over to the west coast of Turkey. And this is where we'll land in Izmir, and that is on the western coast. And this is a place on the Aegean Sea that is actually the third largest city in Turkey. And we're going to go there and visit a number of interesting things. For instance, the Roman Agora, which is an open air museum that was used as a marketplace during the Roman rule of the city. So we're going to explore the antique bazaar that's there. We're going to have a chance again to look at this whole process of commerce there and how it's done through spices and foods and local street foods. And then we'll go ahead and come back to our hotel to check in, another beautiful boutique hotel overlooking the water. And then that night, we're going to get together and have a hands-on, authentic Turkish cooking class where we're going to get to smell and touch and taste all these beautiful ingredients and make our own dinner. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's our first day there. And then the next day, we are going to get out and see some historic sites. We're going to visit the ancient city of Ephesus, which is a UNESCO heritage site. And this is the city area that we're going to be in is an important thing because it was really a Greek trading center at one time. Later became a Roman provincial capital. And this area, Ephesus, is considered one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. The Temple of Diana is there. And we're going to see things that have been around for so long. And I think it's fascinating to understand how these sites played a role in culture. We're going to tour the Temple of Hadrian, which was built in the 2nd century and named after a Roman emperor. We're going to go on to some terrace houses. We're going to then leave the historic side and go in to see one of today's current organic farms. And I want to hear a little bit more about this from you, Carol. This is a woman-owned and operated organic fresh farm, which is fantastic because it will bring us into kind of this day where we're going to be celebrating all things feminine, moving on to after the organic farm, we're going to stop at what is believed to be the last home of the Virgin Mary. And that will be so interesting before we head back to our hotel. So tell us a little bit about this organic farm, because I think this sounds really interesting.
So keeping in line with what we do as a social enterprise, we work with suppliers, local women, that have really local businesses. So we don't take you to factories where they mass produce food. We take you to the farms that sell in the markets. And in doing so, you can really see and understand what business and culture looks like in commerce, and how there is a growth of women entrepreneurs, and it keeps growing in Turkey. And it's our job to support these women-owned and operated businesses to help them to be able to grow their farms, to feed more people, and they give a lot back to the community as well. It's beyond that. These women are so committed to health and wellness and the energy of the land and the energy in the food. And of course, you're going to learn traditional Turkish vegetables and fruits that you may not even have ever heard of. So they take this very, very seriously, and they want to show you how they farm organically and how serious Turkey is about health, wellness, and eating you've seen food, you've eaten already. My stomach is already full, yet I'm starving because I want all that food. You're going to see how this food is produced and how seriously Turkey takes its food culture.
I think that's going to be fascinating. And, I love that this visit on the Western coast is going to give us this opportunity to understand the whole role of trade, being on the coast and on the water and really understanding over the thousands of years how this port of entry, if you will, into the country has been so important to what we're doing. Because the next day we're going to get on a flight again and we're flying over to Cappadocia, which is the center part of Turkey, as I pointed out earlier on. And we're going to be showing up, and I don't have a picture of Cappadocia here because I had that one with the balloons, but it is truly a geologic wonder. And for those of us that live in Utah, we have seen some really amazing structure, but I can't wait to see this because Turkey has what's often called the fairy chimneys. And these are very unique geological formations that have been created out of this porous volcanic rock debris that can be carved and chipped and worked with like a sculpture. And so we're going to get into Cappadocia, and in the afternoon, we're going to have an opportunity to have a wine tasting and really understand what the wines taste like from the oldest perched vines in the world. And then we're going to wrap up the day after we've been out looking at these different formations and all of these different things that have happened. We're going to come to the Nino Cave Suites, which is what you see here is this area, not particularly this picture of the property, but we're going to have a chance to explore this whole culture of these cave suites. And I think this is going to be fascinating. So Carol, you've been to the cave suites. It looks like a place where we get to do a little stair climbing. Is that right?
Yes, so these are caves, and so you're actually going to have to walk up to your suite or your room rather. But of course, there are bellwomen that will bring your luggage to you. But you're literally staying inside of one of these really wonders of the world, these cave communities that exist in Cappadocia, and that's why the experience is so unique. And this is it's a luxury accommodation that you really will never forget. I don't want to talk too much about it because it really is about the experience.
It sounds fantastic, and I've seen some pictures. It's going to be really neat. So the next day is this optional hot air balloon flight to get you started. And I think this will be great. Unless, again, if you're not into heights, this is not for you. But for those of you that are okay with that, I don't think there'll be anything like it. Now, of course, it's weather dependent. So if if it's raining or something, you would not be flying. But it will be a great chance to explore a new dimension in your experience on the Treasures of Turkey exploration. And today we're going to spend time starting out at an outdoor museum that is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, getting a chance to see, again, a really unique way that this community was founded and set up with churches and living quarters and things that were carved into the earth. And then we're going to head into the underground city. And this area is where you're going to see these elaborate labyrinths of tunnels that were cut out of volcanic rock as deep as 300 feet into the earth during this period of time that was long ago, between the 6th and the 10th centuries. We're then going to move on to understand more about pottery making and this unique craft and handicraft center where we're going to learn about the production of the pottery and the art of actually making pottery. Then we'll go on and come back to the Cave Hotel, and we're going to visit a place called Pigeon Valley, where we're going to get a chance to see this incredible view and understand the unique role that pigeons have played and collecting their guano for fertilizer, which is an interesting thing because when you look at this environment, you can tell it's quite harsh. So to be able to fertilize the land with something from nature, which is from the birds, will be a really interesting story for all of us. And then finally, that evening, another option for people, you can end your day with the Whirling Dervishes performance before a dinner that evening. So you can see a little bit here, some Turkish coffee, and I think that that's always going to be a great thing for us to try along the path. Okay, now it's time here to get out and hike. And this is going to be our day in Cappadocia, where we're going to walk amongst these geologic wonders from the ground level and really get to see, like, look at some of these little openings in the rock that have been carved. And this will be so fascinating. We're going to go to the Love Valley, where rock formations are all around us, and have a chance to see these sandstone formations that are carved into things like churches and places where people will go and tuck themselves into these little buildings that are created. And then in the afternoon, we're going to start with a lunch in an area that's very influenced by the Greek culture. And we'll spend time there and visiting a monastery before we come back to our cave hotel. And then we gather, unfortunately, for our goodbye dinner, our farewell dinner. So this will be our last day in Cappadocia and our last major day in Turkey. And then finally, we're going to come on and fly back to Istanbul the final morning. And this is really the wrapping up of the program. So what I want to do now is walk you through the price of this fantastic travel opportunity and what's included for you. So one last little set of pictures, which I wanted to show you because, there's so many things we could show you. It was hard to pick pictures to put on this presentation because there's so much I'd love for you to see. But, this is an opportunity for cultural immersion. This is an opportunity for historic sites, for delicious food and social rituals, for crafts and for contemporary metro areas and rural community and out into the farmlands. So we're going to see beautiful people that await us in Turkey and get an opportunity to interact with them. So now I want to walk you through how you can join my Treasures of Turkey exploration and what it includes. So first of all, let's start with this. The program is coming for September 25th through October 4th, 2025. It's a 10-day, 9-night experience, and the double occupancy per person price is $5,705. And if you're traveling on your own and have your own room, it would be single occupancy at $6,845. Now, the program itself includes a number of things, and I really want to review this with you so you understand the value that you're getting, which is incredible. On arrival, you'll be met with our airport representatives and taken right from the customs area out to your hotel. We have a private tour manager with us who is Turkish speaking and knowledgeable on the history and the culture, and really takes care of us to make sure that everybody's happy and in the program, understanding what we're learning. We have ground transportation throughout the program. We will be flying, and domestic airfare is included to get you from Istanbul to Izmir on the coast, and then back from Izmir through Istanbul to Kayseri, which is where we'll be going to Cappadocia. And then finally, from Kayseri to Istanbul. So you can see that there's 3 major domestic flight patterns in this as well. Breakfast every day, the 9 breakfasts, 7 lunches, and 8 dinners. So nearly every single meal. And trust me, with the other stops at the bazaar and the snacking, you're going to be fine, as Carol has mentioned, on food. We have a beautiful 3-hour cruise on a private boat while we're in Istanbul, looking out over the area. We have a belly dancing workshop, an evening cooking class. We have 10 nights where we're staying at our hotel in Istanbul, 2 nights in Kusadasi, and 3 nights at the Nino Cave Suites in Cappadocia. We have entrance fees included for all of the sightseeing and the museums and the historic sites that we're going to be going to. And we have tips for the valets and the restaurants where the group programs are offered. Finally, taxes, tolls, parking, and fees are all included as well. So as you can see, this is an incredible value. It's packed with value, and I know that you're going to be thrilled with what you get. So speaking of which, don't take my word for it. I have a number of people who've traveled with me, and on my website, you can read what they've said about traveling with an Essential Earth Explorations program with me. And I would encourage you to take a look at that. These are people that have had fantastic experiences. And so now really it's up to you, right? If you're ready to discover the truly magical and magnificent country of Turkey with a small group of travelers, my 2025 Treasures of Turkey exploration offers that perfect balance of activity, adventure, of key historic sites, cultural understanding, relaxation, and a few extra surprises to ensure that this exploration is truly the journey of a lifetime. I am so excited about this program, and there's a very limited amount of space in this small group travel group. So, on this program, I'd love to have you join me. So, take a look at the details on the website and then reach out to me by email or phone or text. And let's talk about the details because I'd love to answer your questions and get you registered right away for this incredible learning journey in Turkey. And I want to thank you, Carol, for joining me today and offering your experiences. Is there anything else you'd like to add for the group before we close off?
The only thing I'd like to add is that every single program that Marty plans is absolutely unique and spectacular. None are the same. What we really focus on is human transformation, that human experience that you will not get anywhere else. Finding those local experiences, doing what the locals do, having time to heal and reconnect and regenerate with yourself, because we don't get a chance to do that. So these programs are more than tours. They're not tours, they're journeys, they're explorations, and explorations that are external but also internal. So each one is life-changing. And Turkey, certainly by the nature of the land, the history, the people, will take you there naturally. I encourage you, there's no one like Marty out there. So please, just look at her website. It's absolutely spectacular. And she's right, it's small groups. She sells them out quickly. So I would encourage you to register as soon as possible. And thank you for the opportunity, Marty.
Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing and shedding your insights and experiences with us. And I do want to just again remind people that this is a fantastic exploration for couples. It is a great program if you're traveling with someone or if you prefer to travel on your own. This is welcoming all people and a fantastic program to take advantage of coming up in 2025. And I really hope that you'll take a serious look and plan to join me. So don't forget to get on that right away while we have space for you and would love to have you be a part of it. Thanks everybody so much. Have a great day and we will be talking to you soon.